Ladies and gentlemen, we are live with our program, Good Morning SVG. My name is Pearl Williams, and let me take this opportunity to officially welcome you to this morning's program. We are a bit cloudy in St. Vincent and the Grenadines. We were told that there is a weather system, and we'd like to remind you that if you are in the low area part of the country to be to exercise caution. All right, so let us take a look at the time, ladies and gentlemen. We are now 2 minutes past 8 in St. Vincent across the region. Let us first remind you, if you are trying to reach us, you can do so through our telephone numbers 1784-495-2620. You can call us or you can drop us an email. All right, and you can do so through our our email address, goodmorningsvg@gmail.com. It is always a pleasure to be here in your company to bring you all the updates and what is happening and the trending information. We also share with you advertising and marketing information. As we continue this week, we had promised to bring you some exciting interviews. Let us hope that today that we are successful. Let us don't place an announcement at this time due to circumstances being out of control. So if our guests arrive, we just allow them into the program. All right. We have to take this position due to sometimes in the different countries when we do invite folks and whatnot, they have little issue with their internet situation and all of that. So we make provision for all of this. So if they come in, we continue with them and introduce you to the program. However, let us move on, ladies and gentlemen. We've had some very nice, some little information and what's not. I say very nice because the information that comes to hand and what's not, it makes you a little more excited. All right. So let us begin with some announcement, ladies and gentlemen. Please don't forget the retro games that is coming up on the 16th of November, and this was done by the Community Health and Fitness Club, which is based in Mustique and obviously extending to St. Vincent and the Grenadines. All right. Let us remind you that. Let us also remind you of Miss Plus Size Universe that is coming up on the 29th of November. And before we jump into November, let us talk about October. So we do have a few announcement as it relates to the Independence Parade, the Independence Parade and some of the eat out at Arnesville. I just spoke with Mr. Jomo, who is one of the brainchild behind the event in, I think it's Victoria Park at the CDC office, Panis. And he's also an instructor and he is also the arranger for his band. And so this morning I was speaking to him a bit about the upcoming event, and we were told that Mr. Rodney Small was the brainchild setting up the food court and so on. It is Independence, and there's going to be a large area that is, occupied, right? And the people would be facilitated with information, and also they do have food independence and local dishes, the breadfruit and the saltfish and the jackfish and all of that, right? And this is coming up, I was told, from the 23rd to the 27th or 28th, yeah? Not forgetting our Vinci Expo, yeah, by Vinci Expo. And I was told that, there is 2 countries who would be joining us, actually 3. I was told that Trinidad and Tobago would be joining. Guyana would also be here. And I think to some extent Barbados would be here. And we would like to showcase this, trying to have an interview with one of the organizers for that event so that they can talk to us and tell us what is to expect. All right. So this morning I spoke to one of the persons who are actually coming into St. Vincent, one of the entrepreneur actually from Tobago. I had a little chat with her just about 15-20 minutes ago. And, she's also going to join us on the program to tell you what to look forward to, those nice leather slippers and bags and the little couches and all of that. And you have an opportunity to go down to the expo and buy, yeah? It is a buy Caribbean or it's buy Vinci Expo. And you guys need to look forward to that, all right? Let us see if we can grab up Miss Angelina Young or even one of the coordinators to find out if they can join us on this program this coming week to talk to us about this fantastic event, all right? And don't jealous me. I have the full opportunity because I'm here. I'm living in St. Vincent, right? Okay, so those are the people in Barbados, ladies and gentlemen. Barbados, Dominica, you're in Anguilla. It doesn't matter what part of the OECS that you are from. If you would like to join us in terms of renting one of the booths at Invest SVG, come out and show your investment. Let people know what is available and how we do our business in the entire Caribbean, right? We'd like to reach out to the folks at the CARICOM office this morning, some of the secretary, the full works, the operation, and say good morning to the CARICOM people at their office this morning, and say good morning to some of the decision makers. Yeah, good morning. We also say good morning, a special good morning to our folks in Dominica. You know that our girl Evelina, who is actually competing for the Independence show. And she's contestant number 4. We'd like to reach out to you again and say good morning to you. All right. We also say good morning to Miss Kizel Jackson. Good morning to Mr. Watson Duke. Good morning to the Raw Talk lady. Good morning to you guys. Good morning to all our friends in San Fernando. This morning we say good morning to you as well. All right. Let us reach out to our folks in Mustique to say good morning to Karen at Great House. A special good morning to you. And Miss Kalilia Spence, a very outstanding figure at the Human Resource Department in Mustique. We say good morning to you, a special good morning to you. A very good soul. Ladies and gentlemen, we have to share greetings. I wake up to an announcement this morning that one of our neighbors in Trinidad Bass, that was during the rain, the heavy rains, and was not my heart go out to the family back in Trinidad and Tobago. You know, I remember as a little girl, we had to get ourselves and get inside until our parents passed by. You know, Mr. Sanchez would pass and say, your parents not home, what are they doing in the yard? You know, get your backside inside, you know. And, you know, in times, you know, and also now, where people say to you, it takes a village to raise a child. You know, it was part of the exercise, the village raising that child. So my sister and I outside playing moral, ladies and gentlemen, we draw little boxes and, you know, things like that with your ball. And you throw the ball and you play and what's not. And then my sister was, you cheat, you too cheat. It's not your turn, it's my turn. You know, and Mr. Sanchez would come down the hill and hear us and was not say, hey, what all you really feel this is? Yeah? Why all you making all this noise in the yard? Your mother not home and was not and all you take over the yard, you know? You know, and when the news hit you to see some of the people who were very instrumental in raising you, yeah, and you hear these news, it's not something that you would like to hear. So this morning I had my full eyes, you know, with all the tears this morning. I just hoping that it will not roll down on during the program, but you know, it is what it is when God saying that this is the final day. There's nothing that we can do to compete with that. All right, so let us sincerely hope that the angels will be there to usher him in heaven. And, you know, condolences to the entire family, to Evelina and all those girls. That, you know, I sincerely hope that, you know, that at this time that you will be ushered with comfort. You know, there's absolutely nothing that we can do when God said that this is the end of your time. All right. In the meanwhile, let us try to be a good Samaritan, a good soul, you know, and to try our very best to exercise the humanity that we are all born with. All right. And so this is what it is. Yesterday, I reached out to my former manager, Mr. Stanley Brown, at the Sagicor office. Good morning, Mr. Brown. Yeah. And, you know, working with your seniors, you know, you always walk away with some level of experience, and that is one of it. I'll never forget about those experiences that I've had working at Sagicor. And so there was a certain incident that took place and was not, which sometimes you have to address these things in the absent. But to say to you, I've had a tremendous amount of experience at this company. And even I'm not there, you know, sometimes we tend to say what we know, and if it is bad, we correct it, and if it's right, we say, yes, that is the way to go. All right. So reaching out to Mr. Stanley Brown yesterday and was not speaking, having a conversation with him. I'd like to say good morning to you and the entire staff. Good morning to Desra and Dion and Ferrell Walters. You know, those were my those names was my co-worker at Sagicor. So I'd like to take this opportunity this morning to say good morning to you. And, we have to try always to be our brother keeper, our brother's keeper. All right. And so that is what it is. Now, in our announcement, we also remind you that the fire concert is coming up, ladies and gentlemen. It's a very well organized, packed program, local program, and we ask you to go on down and pick up your tickets. I was told that there's a few tickets are available, and go down and get your tickets, ladies and gentlemen. Let us also remind you that Miss SVG is also coming up on the 1st of November, ladies and gentlemen. And you also have the Miss Unity Youth Pageant. And if you ask me, some of the girls are coming from various communities and so on. And you have an opportunity to look at the diverse culture coming from the different constituencies. So please make sure that your calendar is totally booked. Yeah, because our local entertainment industry is on point. Yeah, the quality. All right. Now, we were told that the Prime Minister initiative, the entertainment with the talent search, which took place at Calico playing field, it was something to look at. So guys, if you can still obtain your package at Flow or wherever you can obtain it, to look at our entertainment, sports and entertainment channel, you need to go down and obtain the VC3 and look at our young folks as they demonstrate, right, as they perform, and look at the growing talent that we do have in this country. All right, it is rising to a level right now that our writers in St. Vincent are exporting their content, yeah, through other artists, and what's not is a plus for us. They are also engaged, ladies and gentlemen, in coaching. Yeah, we've had some young ladies here, the Avia Charles and some of the former contestants who are also offering chaperone services in St. Vincent, and making sure that our girls look smart, they sound smart, they look good. Yeah, and that is available here. So ladies and gentlemen, we are climbing, and we are climbing in abundance, and we are very grateful for all the upgraded news, the innovation, and all that is in the pipeline yet to showcase itself. Okay, so thank you so much for all the decision makers, the people who are introducing, the people who are brainstorming, the people who are making St. Vincent and the Grenadines look good. Yeah, all the ideas and all the sophistication and all of that. All right, we also learned that Latoya Doroshe, the principal of the girls' high school, is also hosting the Miss Heritage, the high school heritage pageant. I was told that there's a meeting on this evening with the Mass Band Association, apparently to design some costumes for the heritage pageant. All right, and so this is something that you guys also have to look forward to. All right, again, our entertainment packages and the promotion and the promoters are on point at the moment, and this is, we have to say kudos to some of those persons who are coming up with these fantastic ideas. All right, now we have to look at certain situations that arise as a result of sometimes social issues and issues that we cannot change at the moment, but we try our very best to understand what is taking place and try to deal with the situation. All right, for some of you who would have heard some incident that took place and you think that is inappropriate and was not, unless you are not in a position, right, you cannot make judgment on any darkness. You have to deal with certain situations, and if this is you, if this is me, then I do have an explanation for what it is. So let's move on, ladies and gentlemen. We are speaking directly this morning about the issue on social media when we are placing our names and our comments and so on this morning. It is a serious subject, and this is something that needs to be addressed, not only in St. Vincent and the Grenadines, but with Facebook and some of our citizens. Now, we do have social media, as you know. It is beneficial to us in so many cases. It creates a sort of global village. The fact that we are not literally in the countries and whatnot, but we can, come together collectively and, in this way of social media and networking. All right. So we can literally have some platforms that we can use to allow you and Mr. James and Mr. Harry to attend a meeting. It doesn't necessarily mean that we have to travel to some of those countries to literally have meeting, but there are times when we need to have connections, you know, sitting with the same energy in the room and whatnot, so we feel that magnetic stuff is either you draw me and I draw you out, yeah? And it is very important sometimes when we can meet face to face and so on. What can happen at times where, you know, according to which country that I'm speaking from, whether the network would continue as we continue to have our meeting. Sometimes it collapses on us. We can't hear the other person. You know, things like that can happen. So sometimes people believe it's the best thing to do is to have those reality face-to-face meetings, all right? In the absence of that, you have Zoom, you have, you know, all the other platforms that you can obtain. However, this is not always advisable to have these meetings as we indicated previously. And so if this happens, sometimes it cut off and was not telling yourself that you are in a meeting. Let us use, as like me, for example, being a member of the World Humanitarian Organization. And so when we say world, we have, you know, the connections is with India, Zimbabwe, Ghana, Cameroon, South Africa, you have Mozambique, you have all these African countries that are associated with this World Humanitarian Organization. You have Mexico and all these other countries. And so, ladies and gentlemen, the time zone is so different that you have to coordinate the time, you know, so that everybody can get on. And sometimes it's impossible where you have India with their time and wasn't it you have South Africa with the 5 hours ahead of us, ladies and gentlemen. So it's not easy to coordinate, right? Over 3 years we were planning an event, and this year that we are making sure that it does happen, right? Each time that you move forward, you heard that that Nigeria had an uprising with their people. We've had a function there. We definitely had to, you know, reconsider going there because it was not safe for our people. We've had the fallout with Africa and America right now, where it is very bitter. The place is not actually stable at this moment, and all of these things that are happening did not allow us to move forward because it was not safe. We are not going to take people in these countries and have different exchange of culture, you know, due to the situation that arise, not because of our fault in the Caribbean or who else, but this is what is taking place, and we have to be very mindful of these situations rather than going to a place and then you hear Pearl Williams took the people over there and they didn't do this and she's not really to be trusted and all of that, all right? So that is what it is. So in many cases where we have to speak to each other on the phone, you know, on the internet and that sort of thing, you know, setting up your meetings and what's not, sometimes, as again, this is what it is. It cut off. Miss India can't hear us. Zimbabwe cannot hear us, you know, and these people. So it is very difficult at times to, you know, to conduct those type of meetings. However, you have to sometimes, right, look at what is being, you know, displayed on social media. And according to what the content, the intention, and the summary, you realize that if you're a good person, you can make assessment to people's mental state. Yeah? Just by the expression, the way that they see things, the way in which they lash out, you know that these people have some sort of mental crisis and they are afraid to say this is the case. But to say to you, my friends on social media and otherwise, if you have a sense of, you know, imbalance in your thoughts and the way in which you see things, the way that you're understanding and what's not, I guess, you know, the onus is on you to go out and find that help. Yeah? Do not bring your mental situation on social media. Right? And I will show you a few scenarios, ladies and gentlemen. Yeah? Try to avoid publicizing your mental issue on social media. Plain and straight. Okay? If you don't understand something, it's always advisable for you to ask a question. If you hear a rumor going around, you also need to investigate, because sometimes what can happen, the people that you're crucifying, the people that you are going out there and joining the gang with to say that person is not this and that, maybe that's the person who will take you out the fire. Yeah, think about it. The person that you are ridiculing would be the one to take you out of that fire. And so we have to be very careful. Yeah. You are hearing the bickering here, you're hearing it there, you're hearing all of that. And the level of understanding is what, as far as I'm concerned, that we are lacking right now. The level of understanding. Now, we heard Mr. Jomo Thomas, a gentleman that I have high regards, respect for in this country, and have started losing a bit ease by grease, you know. I remember some time ago, I took a document, my aunt gave me a deed of gift. So ladies and gentlemen, I had to go to St. Croix to have it notarized on her last days, right? Now, I took the letter, the draft itself to Mr. Jomo Thomas' office. And where the stuff is, you have to sign on behalf of your aunt who was present. Now, she was so sick, and I was her child, actually, and on her bed, and was, ladies and gentlemen, her hands was more or less shaking. So there was 2 lawyers present, 2 notary public who was present at that bed in St. Croix. There was no way that I can mastermind and write a deed for myself. So you know what? The notary public stamp the document, the deed of gift. $14,000 to have it registered in St. Vincent. All right? Now, I took the document first to Mr. Thomas' office, and he looked at me in this way like, okay, I wonder what you're bringing here, what you cook up, right? Now, ladies and gentlemen, Mr. Theodore Brown is who prepared that document for me, and I traveled to St. Croix because my aunt was deteriorating. And, you know, she just wanted me as a girl. You know, she could not have children. I think I told you about that story already. And this man looked at me in this way as though we cook up something, you understand me, to get it done. So he asked me, what? So this is what you do, you sign something and bring it here. You know, I say to you as lawyers and professionals, if you are accustomed, you understand me, to take people's document and manipulate and to have it done, you understand me, in the way that you want, do not point fingers, you understand me, at anyone making claims. It is totally wrong, right? Mr. Thomas, to me, is an unusual lawyer in St. Vincent. I will tell you this. With some level of creativity and other things attached, and this young lady that I admire so much, I remember when I first came, my face wasn't this wrong, you know, and it's losing its weight right now. People used to ask me if I'm a Banwell, but I love those 2 girls, and there is no political division or anything that can make me not love those 2 girls. When I look at them, they look like my sisters. And what is funny, the way those girls dress, their taste is mine. So each time that I see them, I smile because they like the things that I like. You know, your nice little linen pants, your palazzo pants and so on. You know, your little natural hair and that sort of thing. When I look at them, I say, Pearl, this is Pearl. And for some reason, people would meet me in the street and ask me, are you a Banwell, or if you is a Weeks, for whatever reason, because my face was so narrow before I put on. And I tired answer that question in tongue, right? People who didn't know, are you a Banwell or a Weeks, you know? So I used to laugh. Now, this girl is in the office of Mr. Jomo Thomas and was not, I'm not too sure if there's a relationship, yes or no, if it's his fiance, whatever it is. It's not my duty to find out what it is. I personally do not have anything against these people who are practicing, because as far as I know, at the end of the day, that we are all citizens of this country. So therefore, whether it's politics, yes or no, I say hello, you know, I say greetings when I met. But I am listening to a situation where Mr. Thomas was speaking about Venezuela and all these things and blah, blah, blah. My take on this is, you are a former senator of the ULP party, that for some reason that you fell out with the party, you're no longer with the party. And I'm not too sure if you would have had an NDA, non-disclosure arrangement with the party, or whether or not it's protocol for you to discuss or to outline things that you knew back then to put it out in the media. And you are justifying and letting people know that this is inappropriate to conduct the sort of practices that you heard about, right? Now, I am not in a position to legally, to use legal words or legal implications or whatever the case is, or whatever the word is, to come to you this morning to make judgment on anybody where that is concerned on this political topic. But when Mr. Jomo was finished with his statement, what we saw in those comments and what's not, you ask yourself clearly if there is a situation of mental issues in our country and it is prevalent. Ladies and gentlemen, I am not interested in the discourse, what Mr. Thomas had to say, because my thing is, if I gracefully or elegantly step aside to some platform that I'm not in agreement with, it is beyond my belief, I don't practice dishonesty or whatever the case is or are, and I step away. I was part of the regime and I step away. No matter how upset that I am not going to people to say to people, this is what they used to do and that is what they used to do and what's that. You understand me? As far as I'm concerned, this is a game for Mickey Mouse. Yeah? Not even for some sort of character. Yeah? I will not conduct myself or to say this is what it is, no matter how upset I am. Right? But we are looking at social media, ladies and gentlemen, and it scares me. I'm having a little depression. Yesterday I told people I'm having a little bit of depression. Yeah? The fact is, the type of content and the expression that is out there, it is a cause for concern. We have some sick people walking about. And I believe if we are not paying attention to the illness, that something drastically would happen in our society. Yeah? Sick people, right? And we are trying our very best to uphold the law and to be very respectful, especially in cases like this when we put on, our own platform and we decide to go out there with our discourse and what's not. We have to be quite as polite as possible, and also to give truthful information without fear or favor, as far as I'm concerned, right? And with me, whether it's my party, whether it's your party, whether it's somebody else's party, and you see that something is not going right, if you love your party, you will say, I think you need to look at this. I have done that in many cases with my party. Bring the headline, bring the intention and what's not to the attention of my MP in my area. Whether he accepted it, yes or no, as long as I've done my part, you understand me? I'm good. I'm comfortable. Yeah, and which I did. So in many cases, sometimes you have so much things pending. You hear about the plan and the procedures, what they're going to do and what's not. And it is your party. You make them aware of this is coming and what's not, right? And so I've done that very early according to these people in the movie. But we would like to reach out to some of our people out there who've recognized that they have some level of imbalance, to get yourself checked out. Yeah? Because your words, your words that you use, your sentences, your intention and what's not is a stink. Yeah? And we cannot afford a situation where our young people are upgrading themselves right now, especially through the education revolution in this country. And yet still we go out there singing so poor and arrogant, you understand me, in your discourse about what you can do, what is this and what's not. The PM so ashamed that he hung down his head and all these other things. You know, when you listen to some of you guys, you cannot even manage a Morby shop. Understanding you have to buy the Morby back, the sugar, and that sort of thing. You have to buy the bottle and what's not. So you cannot even put those expenses together and add your profit to the Morby. But you're outside there speaking. Have you ever sat down collectively and understand management and operation, what it takes? Right? The whole country is depending on your decisions moving forward. Implementing laws and regulations. Looking at your according to these people, your defense. You understand me? If, let us say, for example, Venezuela and St. Vincent have some conflict, I'm just using words. Are we prepared, you understand me, to fight? And what do we have as a defense mechanism, right, to fight any sort of war as we stand right now, as it stands right now? Are we going to call Venezuela to help us, United States or whoever it is that we have diplomatic relations with, China or whatever it is, right? So we don't have those weapons because we cannot afford. We have to join these forces and what's not in order for us to fight back, right? Making sure that your agriculture sector, your education regime and everything in the different capacity where you have ministers who are appointed for those areas and would like to give you, according to these people, the window, yeah, the window, yeah. Was it open? Yeah, sorry about that, ladies and gentlemen, yeah. So you have in these departments, go ahead, yeah, all over, yeah. So, ladies and gentlemen, you are looking at management, operation, and governing in one package, right? And some of you who also making your leather sandals, your shoes, or whatever it is, you understand when you have to import those leathers, you have to get people to have it done. You know, you have to look for the market and everything. It applies, you understand me, right, on a national scale. And looking at what we do have here in terms of lands and what's not, we're still looking for investors to come in and all of that, for their people to be employed gainfully and what's not. Are you thinking outside of the box that this is the responsibility? And some of you guys who are opening your mouth, you understand me, you cannot even manage $50. You understand me? To say, boy, I have no money, but $50 will take me down the road for the week. It's $2 from where I'm going with a van, and we have $50. Let me manage just $50. Your eye long. You have $50. A pair of shoes is more than $50. You want to spend the $50. Right? But you hear giving your discourse, you understand me, criticizing and what's not. We know that criticism is very healthy. And I enjoy the criticism. So I say to people, oh, bring on the criticism. Let me see how much people don't like me and all these sort of things. So I know exactly I am hitting home. Continue to send the criticism because that is what builds me. Right? Because if you stop, it means that I'm not going anywhere. So bring it. And this is the same thing that the Prime Minister said. You see qualified, educated people. Yeah? Up to yesterday, I'm speaking to my former boss. We have an epidemic in this country that called jealousy. We are still asking, you know, the pharmacists, the people who are into what you call bush medicine, to find some level of control, you understand me, in your system to work on jealousy. We need, it's a stinking epidemic that we have that called jealousy. It's a disease that we are asking the pharmacists and these people to see if they could find some treatment for this. Right? Because jealousy make you kill people. Right? Make you slander people. You understand me? And all sorts of different things. It's a very serious epidemic. It is in your system and we have to find something to allow these people to sleep longer. You understand me? For them to calm themselves down. To control the nerve. You understand me? The liar thoughts and everything else. We need, this is a serious epidemic. Can somebody help me, please? Right? Serious epidemic that we do not have in our consciousness and otherwise to see anything thrive or grow. Right? The minute that starts happening, we start pulling down. What is the point? That you are getting free education in whatever capacity in terms of a scholarship. When the children return to St. Vincent and they now pick up their respective occupation and they decide to exhale, society have a problem with that. So the poor people children, we'd like to say to you, right? We are understanding. When you look at Facebook, you realize, boy, we have some mental cases in St. Vincent. The way they write, the things that they say, the way how they express themselves and what's not. And when that come off, people should use those little diagnose and try to separate these people from society, because it's a contamination. You understand me? Very contaminated when you allow these people who sick in the mind to associate in society. It is not good. Right? And we ask you, please. Now, we expect Facebook, whether it's a company or an organization, whatever they are, that you know the best thing, what you see, you find the criminals through this network. And that is something good. Right? Like this boy's croppy face and say, boy, I see that you interfere with me. I'm coming for you, your mother, your sister, your auntie, your uncle. And don't make me get a gun. You know, when they come out like that, you know, Facebook ought to report the location of this man, right? Technically, because it can happen. This is social network, it is media, it is internet, it is whatever it is, right? We are in a computer age, right? And you get this man because this is what you call premeditated. The guy who is saying to the people are coming for you and are coming for your entire family, right? It tells us sick people to the point that they have full-blown, you understand me, full-blown mental state, right? And we have to do something about these people. Are we going to allow them to clean up society? Given the expression that they have on Facebook, you know this is mental, it's a mental case, and allow them to continue to mess us up. Did you know the guy who stoned Too Cool Chris, right, is also a mental person? He's out there and what's that? And I personally believe that guy did not pelt Too Cool because he's mad. Somebody paid him. If I die tomorrow, tell you Pearl Williams said this. Right? Because when you look at that vagrant on the road, you understand me, he is not a violent person. He's not. And I would not call him a vagrant. Sometimes you have circumstances where your own family put you on the street. Right? I had instances where I know my own sibling, right, tried to set up some sort of phony document to say that this was given by the father, our father, so that none of the siblings can have anything to do with the property. I've had that situation and still dealing with it, right? And so sometimes when these things occur, the sibling they put on the road so that they can have full control. You understand me? And you guys have to be aware of these certain type of people, right? I would say to you, in Trinidad, there were a lot of corruption practice, and to some point where the government decided, boy, we have to pull up our socks, because in times gone by, you could have gone and get your auntie certificate, your brother certificate, this and that and what, and you can manipulate. You can change your name in Trinidad and your identity become different. Once you have money, whatever you're looking for in Trinidad, it can be done. Right? We have people who is not in the bloodline and start making claims and saying that this man was the father and they're entitled for a share of the company. You name it. Right? And so you have to be very discreet using the social network, exposing yourself as a fool, and what's that, right? So Mr. Thomas had decided to speak about what he knew and how, you know, Vincentians not looking at what transpired and what these people are, you know, capable of doing, and, you know, the people start speaking. Now, one of the things that you guys have to understand, right? It is the human mind to come out, to create. We have creative liars. We have what you call fabricators that will make up a story and write a script within 3 minutes. Right? We have some mental cases that came out. If you look at, we have some Hollywood stars here. You understand me? Tyler Perry, don't know anything about them. Yeah? People will put together a rumor, you understand me, to destroy you in 5 minutes. Right? And we are using this platform to do this, to assassinate people's character. Yeah? But my message to any one of the professionals and to the young people, as long as you know who you are, no Facebook, because people post something and if they don't get no likes on it, they start to panic, nobody like them, there's no like on this and those, because they are out there pleasing the public. They have something to demonstrate to the public. And my message to you is, as long as you know who you are, you don't need any validation from John Public. Believe me, you do not need any validation from John Public as long as you know who you are. And as I said to them, I don't care about Facebook, fast book and slow book. I know who I am. Your perception about me, your poor thinking and your backward thoughts, you understand me? It's your business. And I remember I had gone to St. Lucia to sit the LIMRA University, according to these people, examination. Yeah, or the financial LIMRA program. I was then working at Sagicor when all the workers had to engage in this, what you call university degree program, financial degree program, which obviously that I pass and other people pass in the company. So it's a LIMRA exam, right? Financial planning and whatnot, which we did successfully. And Mr. Sid Hazel and Stanley Brown and all these people who was there, who sat those exams, they will tell you that your girl was present and I did the exam. And while we were there, ladies and gentlemen, you had a situation where we were given a little stipend to buy our lunch and blah, blah, blah. And then this lady, who obviously was part of the program, took the initiative to go on Facebook and say, I only hope the Vincentian crew, they're so backward, I hope they pass. But ladies and gentlemen, let me say this to you. The entire company passed the examination. Yeah? And the LIMRA courses consider a degree, which all of us have, a financial degree. Yeah? The LIMRA financial program, which we did, a degree, which I still have my documentation here. Right? And it's quite obvious that there are certain things that you may have had as experience selling insurance, doing blah, blah, blah. You have those things to your disposal to use when it's necessary. And yet you still have the sick people out there who see you differently and will start to claim and what's not. Don't bother with she have a bad reputation, she have a this and that. You are in the market and the market is very competitive. They just cook up a story and start, they put it on the radio, this person put it on the news and they get rid of you. You could write what story you want. You can put what the hell you want on Facebook. It's not going to stop my traffic. You understand me? It is not going to stop my traffic. It is called competition. That's what it's called. You understand me? And then Facebook accommodate the criminals. You understand me? Because in the messenger, they're sending messages and whatnot. I remember here, ladies and gentlemen, when a cockroach was placed in somebody's food in St. Vincent and Grenadines to shut down that woman, I was present. Don't forget that. This lady put a cockroach. Some time ago, we were down at Sanders and the construction segment. I mean, that department, not the segment, but that aspect. And we wanted to make a program, or just to set up a program. So we have decided to raise some funds and so I took my husband's vehicle and I got a driver and we were there selling the food and whatnot to the workers. Ladies and gentlemen, my hair was this size and I had my hair covered. They sent this woman with a long hair to say that she got it in the food. You know why? Her fiance, what they call the man, had a restaurant right next door and his food for some reason slowed down. Because Trinidadians, they could cook. And boy, we made some soup. The whole staff down there keep coming to buy the soup. We had this gentleman called Mr. Stone. He was the driver. The man who said, wet me now. Wet me and see if they are to have traffic. That was the driver. And he said to me, Miss Williams, you need to franchise the soup. Because let me say this to you, there were Jamaicans, there was all sorts of people. And by 12:30, our pot clean. So the idea was to put something to stop Miss Williams. So they bought this long hair My daughter don't have long curly hair. Of course, she have nice hair. And what we found was a long curly hair. The girl brought the bowl. I don't want this. Or you don't eat from this woman because this and that. Right? And the day that she said that, we had more sale than the previous day. Right? A man said, look at the woman. Her hair is not long. Where did she get the hair from? Is it somebody else's cooking? I am who cooking. You understand me? And I'm just sharing this to share to you that even when the demons come forward, God said, I will deliver you and I will prepare a table before your enemy. And on that day, God said, Pearl, don't worry. This is what's going to happen. So I called the woman. I said, I'm very sorry this is your experience, but I do not have this long hair. When you look, the girl who was standing next to the girl had long curly hair, so they came, you understand me, because she had an affair with one of the restaurant gentlemen. So she tell herself, if she get rid of Pearl, you understand me, that the man will start to sell what he's selling. Now, the thing is, we know about proper menu. You understand me? Our soup and was not have, according to pig tail, and we had some cattle skin and some whatever it is, right? And the cooking, we use things like golden ray and things like that. Good spice, you understand me? And if you see the Trinidadians, they came, right? And they believe because they were Trinidadians, they have a right to be served first. You know what I mean? Right? And this lady came. So when I came home, I told my husband and was that, Mr. Stone, the man, where the mother this? All you to this? So I said, Mr. Stone, come on. Don't operate like this because this is when we'll lose our clients. The man was pissed to the point. Yeah? And you have to look at life to what it is, because in most cases that you know that you are not the enemy, but people decide to make you the enemy. You understand me? People decide to piss, according to these people, in your truck and tell you that rainfall and they forget to wipe it up. Pass urine. Let us look at the sophistication. Pass urine in the truck and don't use the word piss. Yeah? And we are saying, for some of you guys who believe in the writing, the poor content and the intention to create division and destruction, and when you see these things on Facebook, when people write the Nancy story, you understand me, and you buy into that, you know what I like to see? In society, we have this tendency to say, oh, don't deal with Miss Williams, and we start to reverse, put on the reverse gear, and we go on about our business. As though there's a contamination on Miss Williams to spoil the entire society. That is what makes me laugh sometimes. You understand me? Because we still have people practicing, right? 145 years backwardness. Where we are living in a modern society right now, and the governance in this country is making it more modern, more than anything else. You don't think it's time for us to take off that old hat and try to put on a new cap? Why is it our thought never expanded, you understand me, and put your thought in a different capacity so that you know when you speak and was something tangible, something meaningful come out your mouth, right? And this is what it is. Now I said on this said program, the crab in the barrel escape, and we are asking society to welcome the crab that came out the barrel. Right? What happens? Some of you climb back in the barrel, yes or no? Why do you have to write in those capacity, given your own version of whatever? You sound so terrible. Are you expecting people to respect you at the end of the day with your nonsense? Now, don't take this personal, according to these people, the fact that Mr. Thomas went out and expressed himself. But you guys don't know if Mr. Thomas is speaking the truth, yes or no, but you start to give judgment. You have to say it was alleged, right? And if this is truthful, it is wrong. That is where we start our sentence, right? It's alleged that Mr. Tom James went into Mary John's house. However, if this is the case, it is wrong. Don't start your thing and was not, oh God, you know, you have to come down. You have to this and that and terror. You understand me? When are we going to pick up the slacks? Because the world are going ahead You understand me? And they're ahead of us, and we say that we are third world country. When are we going to be first world country with our thoughts and our mindset? In our little capacity in the West Indies, everything is so bad, it's not accommodating, it's not this, it's not terror. What's that? Right? If you leave your marriage, you do something so wrong that you mash up your life and you go on with somebody else and what's not. This is the world that you're living in. Right? I respect any woman who could not find happiness in their marriage and otherwise, and they decide to move for their own peace and their mind. You understand me? To not be in a toxic environment that they cannot breathe properly, they decide to walk away. I respect those women. You understand me? But society said, oh, you know, she walk off on her husband don't want she this and that. So what the hell? If the man don't want you, don't want you. If the woman don't want you, don't want you. What business is it of yours? People need to be comfortable in their space. They need to be comfortable in the environment. If they realize in some way or the other that this is not appropriate for me to be in a relationship that doesn't serve me, right? And this is what it is. You understand me? Today's world, if you cannot care for me or accommodate me financially, yes or no, whether we married, yes or no, some women walk away because they're not seeing any form of development from their spouses, right? And that is the end of it. And this is why we call the marriages now partnership. It has nothing to do with marriage. It's nothing to do with love. Yeah? And some of our children are conceived with partnership arrangement and not love. And when they come out, some of them, they have some deformity. Yeah? And we're talking about the mind. Yeah? And this is what it is. They're unable to bond with anybody because that togetherness of arrangement, it was not polite and nice. It is my, my hormones, right? In some way, my cycle and my hormones and what's not will accommodate any sort of intimacy because that is what it is. The moon up or it's about to go. Does that mean that you love me or I love you or whatever the case may be? You see, there's a difference. Like I say to my people, you ever look at my children, they're good looking according to these people. You understand me? I said my children good looking. You know why? Good love making is what make them so beautiful. You understand me? I say this to people all the time. When I say, boy, them girls look good. If you see Paul daughter and was, I say, yeah, good love making. You understand me? There was no instant where somebody just feel they just take off the clothes because the cycle is thing and they want to get over whatever it is. It was two people who care for each other and love each other. It is the best union that you can find. Yeah? But we are now matching money. You understand me? Who this and who parents come from, which background and who have money. Right? Even in certain family life and what they say, boy, if that girl don't have no money, I'll leave her. It's all about money. It's not about your feelings. It's what you have, what you could bring to the table. Yeah. What happened if you collapse? In my case where I said I am not going to Kingston to play no game with anybody. You're working for the salary and you have a relationship with your boss. So you're doing two jobs for one pay. You understand me? I'm not into that. Right? You love me, you want to have a relationship with me, I'm working for you, and you give me my salary, but I'm with you. Are you really serious in tongue? You're crazy. Right? And to some of you, need to get some sort of collective, according to these people, knowledge that can take you to the next side. I am having a relationship with you. I'm working for your company. I am facilitating you with sex when you want it, whenever you think, all on the desk or whatever the case may be. But I am paid a salary for my work. So you are telling me all the service that I provide you with, I have to, according to these people, in some cases, you have to give them what you call a blow job and all these things on your work. But when you leave work, you go with your salary alone. So you're doing two jobs for one pay. How many of us sit down collectively and think about the stupidity, right? That is in your mind and what's not. You start selling yourself short because you never value yourself. And some of you writing bold on Facebook, I hashi man, if she man wanted she and what's not, backward and stupid. Some of us believe that a man would leave his wife and his family with his children to go with, according to them people, a side chick. You understand me? Who sometimes get the gravy of the situation because my husband sleep with me tonight and the energy that he give me, he have to build that energy for you later on. But guess what? I had the main course. I am not the appetizer, but the main course. So think about it, what you're getting. You understand me? And at the end of the day, after his bills is paid, if he have a $25 or $200, he give it to you. His focus is on his family, not on you. Right? So some of you who want to, according to these people, to be the appetizer, you go with people's husband and you go out there and you give the husband the vibe to come home for his wife. Some of you, we thank you so much to be the appetizer to come home. You understand me? Because the man perform well when he knows his woman, the loyalty, the love, the respect and everything. You understand me? Mentally, he's able to, according to these people, to transition himself into that field, right? And for some of the backward women who feel, okay, boy, I get your stuff, and then you guys give them the appetizer because we're ready for them when they come home, right? You cannot be the main course. You cannot. You understand me? So don't put yourself in a compromising situation going on Facebook and these things, writing all these things, who people, man, and all these sort of things. When you go to TikTok, there's nothing tangible to teach you something, how to get over the next hurdle. You understand me? A set of nonsense, boy, call your mother this, with a blah, 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 blah. And to see the quality of audience that you are having on a daily basis, right? So you're feeding your mind with the negativity, right? You're feeding your mind with all the bad words, all these things coming in your mind and what's not. You're feeding your whole thoughts, you understand me? According to these people, with the spirit, right? That is not active, a spirit that could never allow you mentally to move to a different stage in your life. So you subscribe to the nonsense. This person cussing. I saw the people in Jamaica and what's not, right? Have this sort of what we call this dialect, the way that they speak. And sometimes I laugh, not sometimes, but I laugh all the time when, you know, because it sounds so funny, you know. And when they go out, they have a different dressing, they have a different temperament, the way that they eat and everything. And they go on social media. And people subscribe to the language, they subscribe to the violence, they subscribe to all the immorality. And they start operating like that. So our audience here is one that is emulating. We are not creators, and we are not, according to these people, original. We always emulating what we see, what we hear, what we eat, and how to eat. At the end of the day, you don't know what you eat, what you emulate. You start to behave in a certain way, and you ask yourself what happened. You know what happened? You are able to ask the spirit that is driving these people crazy, and you make yourself available, you understand me, for this spirit to leave from where they are to come into your system. That's what it is. All right? Why we are not using the internet, yeah, in a creative manner to research, to look at history, to look at the news, look at the world and in which way it's going, to develop yourself. Let us find out if there's any employment, you understand me, in different countries, how they eat, how can I fit in, whether they have rent available, you know, how can I upgrade myself. It is never that. It's who shot down who, you understand me, which gun they use, you understand me, how they able to dead, and then when they kill them, let us see the kind of funeral that they could arrange. This is people with mental situation, you understand me, where you could go and subscribe daily to this kind of nonsense. You understand me? I remember recently where they show a young boy who was so much, you know, mentally into a program that he was not able to come out. And he left making all sort of sign and all sort of thing because this thing took him to the point that he couldn't get back to himself. You understand me? And was at the hospital. You understand me? Because they couldn't bring him back. He's so much involved into this thing. This thing started playing with this young boy mind. I don't know if he passed or what happened to him, but they could not get him to come back to this mental state, the reality state. And we have to say to children, you understand me? The internet, according to these people, social media, have its advantage and its disadvantage. And they ought to be guided. We have some spiritual programs that they're with nice name. And before you know it, your soul are used to tamper with. And when you get out there, you're the wrong person. You understand me? If you notice that there are several organizations who are advertising their demonic practices, and we don't know what it is, and we start to subscribe, we start to open up things that you have no calling with, and for some reason you start to, behave in certain manners, right? Don't underestimate, you understand me, social media and its platform and its what is the word, and its apps. Yeah, ladies and gentlemen, if you're joining us for the first time, let us welcome you to this morning's program. It's called Good Morning SVG. We are here from 8 to 9 a.m. We are approximately 2 minutes past 9, and we would like to let you know that this program, it's a daily program which comes to you from Mondays to Fridays from 8 a.m. We invite you, if you do have an advertising product that you would like to speak to us about, you can send us an email via our email address, goodmorningsvg@gmail.com. All right, we spend a lot of time doing some researches and was not trying our very best to improve on the quality of our program and also to join a new platform. But in the meanwhile, with all our pilot programs, use the initiative to take your stuff together and put it in the right platform and the right place. All right, we try our very best here not to accommodate bacchanal and confusion with who say and who is flying with who. This is not the program. When we sit, we have a legitimate conversation that you can learn from. Yeah, and we also invite you to take a cup of tea. This is the breathtaking program this morning that we can come up with solutions and also say to you, this is wrong, I think you should be engaged that way, and so on, right? It is called respect, ladies and gentlemen, and it's always a pleasure to sit in and to find how I can make myself a better person, all right? Ladies and gentlemen, we have come to the end of this morning's program, and we wish that we can continue to go along the line because it's powerful information. We'd like to say to you, please be the supervisor for your child that is engaged on social media, yeah? And the negative force and the evil that they are tampering with, to be that parent to supervise. Look at what your children are looking at, all right? And this is good information. You don't have to pay for this. This is free information, all right? As we say so long, we like to remind you that our school children are on the street to exercise caution on the road. Our weather system has started to change if you're in the low-lying areas, to make sure that you find some sort of, comfort in terms of when the weather starts, you don't know where to run, right? Please be very close, turn on your radio to the NEMO department to find out where you can run for cover if the rain is consistent, and to protect yourself. Also, we ask you in our community to please look out for the elderly folks who is in our community that are unable to move from their homes in any sort of bad weather, to give assistance, all right? Humanity is what all of us born with. Let us try to exercise this, all right? Until tomorrow, ladies and gentlemen, we send you peace and love until 8 o'clock, all right? This is your girl signing off, saying so long. Bye.